Okay, so I've decided to start making videos again, and I thought I'd start on YouTube and our live stream on YouTube goes, seeing as everybody who speaks about anything truthful on YouTube or Facebook is now censored off. And I know that when this censorship started, it was like, oh yeah, well, you shouldn't be being conspiracy theorists or something. But if you don't think that this is ridiculous, like, this is taking away people's right to question what is happening. Anything that is outside of the mainstream narrative is being taken off the internet. So obviously, I want to talk about what's happening in the world right now, which is COVID and the virus and our suppression and disempowerment as human beings. So I'm just going to start with this. Basically, I titled this video that women are smaller than men, but we give birth, so it's equal. So we have a serious problem going on right now that's manifesting out of people's disempowerment. It's that simple. All of this is coming from the fact that we don't know for sure who we are, and what we're doing here. And we don't have a connection to something greater to guide us through this life. And I've gone back and forth in my life many times between being a very intellectual, knowledge-based person to being a knowing person who runs on intuition and instinct and what I feel is right over what my mind is telling me. And this goes back and forth, not through choice anyway, as you can't always do what is right, or what you know is right, or else we'd all be superhuman. We'd all be fit and healthy and strong and confident and out there. And because those things are the most potential we have, and we know that, nobody can deny that. Nobody that sits at home eating junk food and watching TV will not say that they don't have a small aspect of depression or anxiety or some downfall of not striving to be the best person they can be. So I believe that speaking about women and men is a really strong point. I've had lots of friends around me have babies recently, and I myself almost had a child, and it's just showing me that as women we have a lot more choice than I ever thought we did. I didn't realize that you can have your baby at home with no medical professional present, and that you don't need to register your child to the government after they're born. I didn't realize that you can do that, and most of the time nobody will approach you or say anything to you about it. And even if they do, there's nothing that anybody can enforce on you. You have full choice as a woman over what you do with your body and your children. As far as birth goes, obviously once the children are in the world, we have expectation to take care of them to a certain extent, and I'm all for that. I think that in a lot of cases where the welfare is involved, there is nothing happening that requires that kind of enforcement. But in some cases, obviously, there's just straight neglect, and children don't deserve to be treated like that. But this is a byproduct of a broken society, and the fact that we're no longer taught by community how to look after each other or ourselves. So the rules that are being enforced by the police and the public that are following those directives now, like shop owners and just general people who seem to be dobbing people in and pulling people up on the street, it's all completely illegal in terms of federal law and the Constitution. But it's become very obvious over the last 15 years that the Constitution doesn't mean shit, and that the laws no longer reflect human rights, but rather what the government wants us to be doing. So that doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. And it no longer means that we are taught that we have a choice. We are taught that we have no choice, that we follow it, or we're subject to going to jail or fined, or our life will be destroyed and altered in some way by authority. We're seeing more enforcement over this virus than we have over any global pandemic or any event in history. Because of the infrastructure that we have now and the technology that we have now, we are literally able to shut down the entire world, and we are able to box in people's perspectives of what's happening, because everybody's turning to the same things. They're turning to their computer screen, their phone screen, the TV. And so when we hear conspiracy theorists talking about AI and the AI takeover and all of that aspect of things, which is not just conspiracy theorists, it's common knowledge. Most people who have an interest in it will say the same thing, that obviously we are building something that we will struggle to take down and turn off once it's built. And it is built, and it's here, and it's running. And 5G is a large part of that. And whether you believe that the radiation from 5G is a problem is not relevant to the fact that it is data and it is surveillance, and it is our freedom being taken away at a mass scale that we cannot escape no matter where we go. So to some people that doesn't matter, and that comes from this disempowerment of who we are and our rights as people. Only because we have a right to access the higher frequencies of who we are, and if we are restricted into environments where we cannot do that, then we won't be able to do that. And that then comes down into all the different layers of how we may find our way there. So this society is restricting people from even stepping up one level or two levels to who they are, because it's distracting them. So that's why we have all these people coming out, the truthers coming out, all these people speaking out to the public, myself included, anybody who's doing it. I haven't even been doing it for that long. There's people who've been doing this for a long time, dedicate themselves to this. So many people who dedicate themselves to speaking the truth. Because we are the only media influence that you will have beside from teaching you to distract yourself and suppress yourself. So we feel an obligation, as we're aware that this is happening, to teach you and show you that there is another way. So we have all of this going on over COVID-19, over a virus. The tests are still unreliable. There's still controversy between head health, biology, virology experts as to what the virus even is. The injection is a greater risk to young people than the virus is, which has a 99.97% recovery rate. And the average rate of death for the 0.03% that do not recover is 80 years old in nursing homes with pre-existing diseases on medications. This injection is causing problems in people much younger, much younger, and all kinds of problems to young, healthy people. The injection is more dangerous than the virus in this sense. And the virus itself is still controversial. We still don't know for sure what it is, where it's coming from, and we're being told to just have faith, blind faith and trust, which is exactly what the church tells you to have. When you go to church, they tell you to have blind faith and trust in something that you cannot see, hear, feel, experience. I believe in God. I believe that there is a greater force, bigger than all of this, that may also be in this, maybe, but it has power over what is happening here. And I believe that, not blind faith. I believe that because I've seen it, because of the connections and the communication that force has had with me directly in this life. I know that it is here. I don't have faith in the same companies, corporations, and authoritarian bodies that have been proven to be corrupt and have been destroying people's lives and have had interest solely in wealth and money and power forever. Why on earth would I have blind faith and trust in those people? I do apologize that I'm a bit taken back by the light. I don't usually sit right in front of the light, and it's a bit hectic. But you wouldn't be able to see me if it didn't have it on. So, and then we've got also the other sides of it: mental health, suicide, depression, anxiety, all of these mental health problems that are so full on right now, and everyone being in a state of shock and panic. This is really dangerous. Small businesses are being destroyed. The same corporations that have been destroying the environment for the last 100 years are reaching the highest profits they ever have. So when we comply with this without questioning what it is we are complying with, we are no longer talking about a virus. Complying with government officials is destroying society. The virus had this recovery rate and the average age of death before we enforced mandatory mask, social isolation, and social distancing, closing small non-essential businesses, etc. It is a fact that the restrictions are bringing more damage to society than the so-called virus. So this is my test video. I'm going to end the stream and I'm going to take it to Facebook. I just want to finish on a note saying that when you look at this and you question it, you see that the alternative to this is self-sustainable living, self-sufficiency, community, being supportive of and a part of your community in a way where you're actually openly engaging in the betterment of the people around you. So you are becoming a better person and you are teaching the people around you how to become better people, not opinion-based, evidence-based, what is working for you, what works for the people around you. So there is hope on the other side of the fence. There's more hope, in my opinion, on the other side of the fence. But just ask yourself the questions. Take some deep breaths, go right into yourself and ask, does this feel right to me? Does what is happening in the world make sense right now? And if it doesn't, then go to what makes sense. Look for what makes sense and follow that, because that will keep you sane. And ask yourself, what do you need? What is best for you in this situation? And do everything you can to acquire that. What you need, what is best for you. Peace.